Alright guys, it's the big day. It's the pour day. We've got these countertops primered. Jennifer's over there creating a little dam. I've seen two methods of doing this. One of them is to have the little dam there and then peel it after a couple hours. The other is just to let it rip. I'm going to go with this option. It just seems a little more controlled, I guess, for lack of a better term. And since this is our first go-around, I want as much control as I can get. So we're going to finish getting these prepped up and get some more light over here, and we'll get going.
So what we're working with is a 8-foot countertop butcher block from Home Depot and a 6-footer. And the 6-foot I cut into 3 2-foot sections. And then what we're using on it is this stuff called Epoxy. And I know this is at the beginning of the video and I've already poured it. This stuff's good, very good at not having bubbles. The one that came out the best was one that I re-poured, and we just kind of used a roller for the top coat. Went a little heavy, but we just used a roller, and that worked flawlessly. We've already primered the 8-foot and the 2-foot pieces. Let the primer dry for 8 hours, and now we're mixing up the epoxy. It's pretty straightforward. It's a 2-to-1. I didn't have a big enough container, and I went to Home Depot and bought a little bit bigger of a bucket, and it still wasn't big enough for an 8-foot pour. That was one thing I wished I would have had, was a bigger bucket. The other thing is, right now, and I know my camera placement sucks because you really can't see what's going on. The only downside to this pour initially was I did not mix enough epoxy for such a big piece. You'll also notice I'm trying to spread some of this around using a paint stick because I'm heavy in some places and lighter in others. And it was because I'd leveled this side to side. I neglected to level it front to back, so it was kind of getting heavy on the front side of it. You drill with a little mixer. It worked fine for the Epoxy, but I think this is what caused me issues on a subsequent pour using a different product. The heat buildup, and it didn't seem like I was building up that much heat, but something caused it to set way too quickly, and I think it was mixing it with this drill.
Alright, it's been 2 hours since we did our pour. And it's looking looking okay, different. I like it. I like this end a lot. Looks like it's starting to go over the top there. But I will say that's probably the part that our inexperience got the better of us, was the tape around the side. I think we should have doubled it up. We had a real problem, as you can see, of it leaking through the tape. I don't know how much we lost, but hopefully there's still enough to drizzle down the sides here in a minute. But we were a little smarter on these ones and doubled everything up. It looks like it's still leaking through on one of them pretty bad. That's no good. But yeah, that's probably my only, I don't want to call it a complaint because it's not a complaint, but that one came out better than I thought it would, although it looks like a piece of styrofoam decided to fall in it. But I mean, it was easy to do, you know, just like I say, lack of experience, you know, but it's something we'll do again. I'm comfortable with it.
So here we are the next day. I'm pretty pleased with the results, although this first one here that we're looking at, it's got some fish eyes, I'll call them. Some kind of contaminant, I'm assuming, you know, fell down into it. This one here has a kind of a grainy texture to it that I'm not thrilled about. It looks like overspray or something, but it's actually very smooth. But yeah, there's something going on with the texture that is kind of funky. We end up redoing this one. And Big Bertha here, this one actually came out very good for it being our first pour and such a big piece. and so many little, you know, like I say, it was out of level, and I didn't mix enough epoxy. We had a lot going on with this one, and it still came out pretty good. The very end there, we had to mix up a little small batch, so it dried at a different rate, which is kind of what was leading to this textured effect. It still smoothed out, but it did create this 3D. And then like this one here, there's a little fisheye on the end, but that's going against the wall, so I'm not too worried about it. And here you can see where our tape didn't quite meet our needs, so we ended up with some stalactites or mites or whatever they are, but a lot of drippage that is going to require some sanding to get rid of it. But overall, it came out, you know, I'm very happy with how this came out.
So we apparently missed a couple of boards. As you can see in that window, you can just see them peeking through the bottom there. I mean, it's not terrible, but I'm really going to have to fight wanting to detonate that window to paint those boards black. Because like this one back here, you can't see nothing, right? Yeah, well, that's the bathroom. So this is the kitchen. And there's really no sign of the window framing that we used there. But this one you can just kind of see, and I'm sure if the sun was out, you could see it. But and again, it's almost something you'd have to be looking for. Well, no, you wouldn't have to be looking for it. You're gonna see it. Oh, you know, it is what it is. Like I say, I may end up tearing it out. I don't know. It's hard. That was a lot of work to get those windows built, but you know, maybe I'll have to undo it. Everything you have to do on a bus build is gonna need a little customization, so to speak, from window blinds to, you know, all of it. Now, nothing just goes in as it's sold at the store, so to speak. At least not yet. Very little. The switch plates. Those are the things I did not have to modify whatsoever. That's about it. Everything else, it's always just tweaking something a little bit or a lot in order to get it to work. Oh, these handles, got these on Amazon, way cheaper than the same thing over at Home Depot. We got a box of 30 of them. We don't need that many, but for as inexpensive as they are, that was the way to go. But definitely, they sell a little plastic template to help you position these things. Definitely get that template. All right, we're doing round 2 of the epoxy pour because we weren't quite happy with how this one came out. A little rough. It's because we had a severe leak. That's what I was saying. These tape dams, boy, they got to be strong. So this time we're going around. We've got the painter's tape, and then we're going around it with that packing reinforced tape. So hopefully that will keep this from spilling over too soon. Because what happens is that if it starts leaking out, you drain too much epoxy, and you don't get the coverage you really need. Like, it's really thin coming over on this side here. And there's some fish eyes and some other things that we're just not happy with. So we're going to re-pour it. We have enough left over. And then for this one, we're trying something totally different. We're going to try and make this one clear with a little emblem embedded in it. So we'll see how that's going to come out. So we're kind of just looking at it from the perspective of, we don't have anything to lose here by redoing this. We already have the material. That was an extra piece. So we're not going to be out anything if it doesn't turn out, but I think it will. And as for this one, we're going to try a re-pour, and if it doesn't work, I can either A, just sand it all off with a flap attack, or I can flip it over and try and pour the other side. So we're really not into it much if it tanks. So to me, it's worth a shot. So we are all taped up. You should not have to be so ridiculous with your tape. But we ain't taking any chances on this one. So we went way overboard.
Yes,
and start mixing it up, and we'll get to pouring. All right, we got the first clear pour going. She's running over it with the heat gun to get rid of the air bubbles. And everybody always uses a torch, but
they said heat gun, or actually a butane lighter type.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It's coming along. There's some weird, like, river looking
up,
things.
Though. It's clearing up.
Yeah.
Needs this on it. Thank you.
All right, we're back. It's starting to set up for the backsplash to go on. But we're going to finish cutting those up and we'll start getting those put in.
So the clear countertop was a miserable failure. We've tried it twice since then. That epoxy that we're using does not play well with the heat gun. So we're going on to the backsplash. So we're finding this peel and stick, the default adhesive, is having trouble on these kind of wavy walls. So we're trying some floor adhesive.
Well, boys and girls, what have we learned about peel and stick vinyl tile? Well, it looks nice. I mean, that's a given. But we've also learned it's not very forgiving. If you have any imperfections on your wall, such as a bow, or like where a switch wall plate thing is, it likes to push them, you know, in a different direction. So what I think we're going to do, we're going to keep going. I'm going to get the heat gun out and we'll try and heat these things up and see if we can get them to conform back to the wall. And just hopefully that'll help, because I don't want to pull these back off. These are nice. I don't want to lose them, but that's kind of what we're learning here. As you can see, like this one just wants to poke up because the wall plate's pushing on it, which, I mean, okay, I guess I could loosen the wall plate some, but you know, I don't want to have to do all that. As for our epoxy pours, we're going to have to redo this one. We had a little oopsie over there on the side. Other than that, I mean, it came out real good. I'm pleased with it. We're just going to have to, we're going to sand a little bit that down and do a pour. This one came out awesome. This is the best one yet. So we got about another 20 minutes before we pull the paper dam off of it and let it drizzle down the sides. But so far, I mean, it looks great. I'm happy with how that did. And what we did was I kind of rolled it on with the roller and then let it set, and then we added some white for the marbling, and then just, you know, we just drizzled that on, and yeah, it looks like that's going to come out pretty good. So in other words, we followed the directions. All right, so we poured over their little oopsie. Actually, we poured over the whole thing. If it comes out like this, I'll be happy. I can still see some air bubbles, but we don't want to get overzealous with the heat gun like we did last time. So we're just going to try and force some patience amongst ourselves here. And just let this do its thing. So we'll be back in an hour and take a peek. Well, guys, it's been well more than an hour. It's been like a month and a half. Been in Texas and just doing a lot of other STDs. So, as you can see, this peel and stick, you know, not thrilled. Even with that other glue, it likes, especially where the switch plates and stuff are, it likes to poke out. So, we may have to live with it for now, but I'm certain that's going to be redone. This video is going to be a lot shorter than normal because I have a ton of other footage, but it's not of doing the kitchen. It's starting to do some of the prep work to get this thing on the road to go to Texas. And I was going to put it in this video, but then this video would have been just all over the map. So we're just going to leave it as it is. And I got no juice. So hopefully this is going to come out, but you can kind of see how this is just kind of sitting on there, and then our sink, and we got to put the fixtures in still. But the epoxy counters, they're okay. A little more complex than I'd hoped. You know, of course, the way they show it on the instruction videos and stuff, it's like, you know, a caveman can do it. And it's not too difficult, but there's a learning curve, and, you know, we experienced some of that. But overall, I think they came out. They're going to look fine. The color's good. We're happy with that. But we're going to start getting this bus prepped for a road trip, which is hopefully as uneventful as getting this thing here in the first place. But it's been sitting another, you know, year and 6 months. So we're going to do some maintenance, try and get the air system fixed, and get on the road. We did get a new inspector, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. She's a new addition to the crew here. Still a puppy, and she's still learning. She's scared of everything. But are you a good girl? Well, are you? Yeah. So anyhow. Thanks for watching.